waste no time though and get started with the bit that you're no doubt most interested in. What has to be the most overkill graphics card ever. This is the 5090. This specific one, of course, is the Suprim Liquid. You can buy an air-cooled version of this that is still called the Suprim, but obviously that does not come with the 360 rad, and that is going to reduce the thermals that you've got, reduce the amount of noise, actually start our build. And I want to say that in all my years of building PCs, I don't think I've ever actually used MSI's top of the top, their Godlike range. So if you were to say what features does this have, the answer would be yes. It's ridiculous all over the top, and actually it looks very tasteful. Now obviously it is eATX, so extended ATX, so you do need to make sure your case does have a little bit extra length there just to be able to support it. But this does up to 4 This does up to 4 M.2 PCI Gen 5 SSDs. The way it does that is 2 native slots on the board itself, and it does come with a PCI Gen 4 slots as well. So 6 SSD slots in total, loads of I/O as well. I mean, look at all those USB-Cs. Look at that. I mean, I use a lot of USB-C. I think the most I ever use at one time is 4, but here we're clearly covered with 5 plus another 2, 7. Obviously loads of USB-A as well. You've got Wi-Fi, you've got 10 gig networking and 5. So maybe if you want to like hardwire into a NAS, connect to a 5 gig local network or something, you can do all of that at the same time. And I've got to say actually that I do like the way that this motherboard has been laid out. Everything seems to come off completely toollessly, which is nice, and it's all covered underneath this shroud. So you don't actually have to kind of see anything really. You think if you went for like Project Zero where everything's reversible, like you plug it all around the back, but you need a case that supports that, and obviously that then creates a load of mess around the other side, which is good and bad at the same time. Whereas if you go for something like this, where all of the cables are pretty much just going to go through one hole here, you kind of create the same effect without specifically needing a BTF case, which is quite nice. Now moving on to our next component, I must admit I'm still a little bit confused about what's going to be best, because I did have an idea to use an air cooler, because ID Cooling sent out one of their golden edition ranges, and I really thought that this might work because obviously we have black and gold accents on this, but I can't bring myself to use an air cooler on something this high end, even though I think it's going to match perfectly. Once you put it on, you're going to have an extra fan here or here, and I just think it's going to ruin the aesthetic. But I still want to use the fans that they sent out because they're not RGB, but they have this lovely gold ring along the top and the sides, and I think this really is perfectly going to go with the rest of the components, and it's just going to give us a more tasteful looking PC really, because we've got the wood at the front, as I say, we've got gold accents throughout. I think this will kind of let like the components do the talking rather than just RGBifying everything. So what I'm going to do is go for the best looking cooler when it comes to the pump head that still has fantastic performance, but rather unusually we're going to take all of the RGB fans off and replace them. As I say, it's not normal, but I want to create something that, as I say, is RGB-less really, and it's just really tasteful. So let's prepare our CPU socket by removing the default AM5 mounting hardware. We'll then place our AM5 spacers on top, place the AMD standoffs in the hole, and then screw those down. And now that we have prepared our socket, one of the best cases out there, right? So it's like a mixture of height, fractal with the wood that you have on the front. It's got a bit of NZXT. It doesn't come with any fans. It's available for roughly £150 here in the UK, but it's just so easy to build in. It's got fantastic airflow, and it just looks the business. I think it looks absolutely fantastic with this kind of like hybrid black and white finish. It's great. Motherboard, and drop this down into position. Once you have got your motherboard fitted and screwed down though, it should start to resemble something like this. So you can see you have a little bit of overhang here, but it still kind of ties in and looks quite nice. I don't think that's going to be too obvious. And I want to do something I wouldn't usually do, and that's a bit of a test fit here, because I want to work out where it's going to be best to have all of the tubes and where's obviously going to be best to mount the radiator for this. So let's drop our 5090 in for now, and then this can either go at the top like that, or
set up dumb.